Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the VML, the weekly online Magic the Gathering tournament series, where every week we have people battling it out in the standard format. I am your host, NileJoanRivers, and today I am joined by Misha Migo. How you doing, Misha?
I'm doing great. And Nile, who are we sponsored by?
Such a great question. We are sponsored by Wizards of the Coast.
We could not do this without their sponsorship, so thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for letting us do this each week. I love getting to come on and hang out with fellow casters like NileJoanRivers here.
Yes, huge thank you to our sponsors, Wizards of the Coast. We've got a lot of really great and exciting matches of Magic to bring you today. It's been a really exciting week. Duskmorn just recently hit. Is it legal in the VML this week, Misha?
No, this is the last week before Duskmorn because Duskmorn went live partway through the week. We at time of submission of decks, it has to be legal, and since it wasn't legal at the time of submission, we have to wait until the following week. So next week is when Duskmorn will be live in the VML, but I'm sure some of our players have been playtesting now that it's been out and about.
Oh, absolutely. And Duskmorn definitely seems like it is going to shake up a bunch of formats and looks very exciting, but very excited to see how these players made use of the last week of VML play before Duskmorn cards were in there. Let's take a look at this metagame breakdown for what people are bringing this week. Misha, what are your thoughts on the overall spread here?
Honestly, I'm not super surprised by this. I believe last week Dimir midrange was number one, or actually no, I think Golgari midrange was still number one. Domain ramp was number two, and Dimir midrange was number three. So Dimir midrange has gone up. Golgari stayed in the forefront, and Gruul Prowess, I believe, moved up a rank this week. So it's been really exciting. Golgari midrange has shown itself to be, just very good in the early game. It can be aggressive. It has so much card draw. It can bounce back from some board wipes. And lots of the bats give you lots of hand disruption, and it just really keeps you in it. Dimir mid range also, it's kind of like we lost Esper with Rafine, but Dimir mid range has still been a strong contender all throughout. Even last season, when Esper was kind of in the forefront, Dimir, there were still quite a few Dimir decks. Domain Ramp, definitely after losing the SNC life gain lands, Domain Ramp's been a little bit less in the forefront, but still a very strong deck and a good contender. Gruul Prowess is one that I think a lot of OTJ cards are big in this one. The Slick Shot Show Off, for instance, and then some of Woe, like Monstrous Rage, and then you use some protection spells. It's been a really strong one. And then Orzhov mid range, kind of similar to Dimir mid range, except for instead of cutting white, they cut blue. So all very strong decks. Very similar to last season. I think the biggest deck to really be hit by the just the rotation we saw was the analyst deck. Losing all those lands really kind of took analysts kind of out of just play, just because it really relied on all that life gain, cycling through, getting all your lands out. So that's the one deck that I think kind of really ate it with the rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, losing those lands is a huge hit. And, I feel like I say this every single time that I come onto the VML streams, and I'm going to say it again, Misha. I still think one of the greatest, strongest play patterns in Standard right now is bad on 2, any good 3-drop on 3. And that's what we keep seeing at sort of the top of these lists with Golgari, Dimir, stuff like that. And I mean, it is effective. Follow your bat with your favorite 3-drop. Gix, Glizza, whatever. They're all beautiful.
Yeah, I personally am a fan of Gix on 3, bat in the air, getting evasion, drawing that card. Especially when you gain the life, it's just a net zero on your life total, but the extra card is just value.
Yeah, it's huge. It's amazing. Now, we've got some very exciting decks to see here today, and I believe we have some slides from our players that we can pop over to. So here's what we have first. We've got Sky on Golgari mid-range. Skybilz, one of the commentators for the VML.
Mm-hmm. I actually just casted last week with Skybilz, so it's nice getting to see them again. But yeah, just kind of going back to what we were talking to on the metagame slide, Golgari mid range, just strong. It's been strong. Like you said, bad on 2, whatever your three drop of choices. I know Skybilz has 2 of Liliana in this deck. I know it's not a 3-drop, but the Mosswood Dread Knight, it's just a strong. It just
absolutely.
But yeah, Glissa is also really good, giving something first strike and death touch. That's a nasty combination on its own.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. All right, Golgari midrange, great deck. Let's take a look at what Skybilz is going to be up against this week. Mythic Mikaela on Domain Ramp. Oh, she loves her rampies. She loves her rampies. What do we think about this deck, Misha?
So, like I kind of said earlier, we did lose a lot of lands, but we did gain. Like we have Fabled Passages in here. I've missed the Fabled Passage. I love that one, especially that artwork. The Heaped Harvest is kind of take that slot. In that slot. It's also a card that I really like. The fact that you get a land on both ETB and when you sacrifice it, that's just great. I think this is going to be a really good matchup. This deck, I feel like, is particularly good against Golgari midrange because Mikaela's also, I think, running 3 mainboard temporary lockdowns, and the Golgari deck unfortunately does have a lot of 1 and 2 drop, or mostly 2 drops, that the bats, the Mosswood Dread Knights that get tucked under that temporary lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, historically speaking, the Domain Ramp deck has always been good against the mid-range piles, and it does not look like Skybilz is running the version of Golgari mid that also just has like the Vraska kill out of nowhere. So I feel like I agree. Domain Mikaela here has got to be the favored gamer. But let's get into the match.
Yeah,
And
you can never
see what that
count
looks
any
like.
player out, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely. I mean, these are two very good decks by two very good players. So excited to see how they each fare here. All right, we got a couple of opening hands to look at.
Oh, this
And
is
what
interesting. Skybilz is, you can either the Mosswood Dread Knight or the Caustic Bronco on 2. You're probably not going to take too much damage off the Bronco drawing that card, but I think Mikaela's hand is okay. The herd migrations can go get some stuff, but no, she's shipping it back. Skybilz, that land, her mana, I think is really interesting with the Demolition Field and Fountain Port. At least the Blooming Marsh does get the blue or the green and black. However, can't play the Glissa or the Liliana currently.
Yeah, certainly awkward. We'll see if they end up getting punished by that, or if they just have the arena premium green off the top, no problem. Glissa online, Liliana
Never
coming
didn't
up
have it.
next. Never didn't have it. Never didn't have it.
All right. I do like that Mikaela kept this hand. It's gonna be a little slow getting the 2 white for the temporary lockdown and the sunfall, but it's not gonna be too bad. Just have to wait to
Yep.
turn 4.
And here we go, the classic bat on 2. Glissa's coming down on 3. Now this
Mm-hmm.
is an interesting decision to make.
I think I'd be taking the lockdown.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think I'd be inclined to maybe take the heaped harvest. So that
Yeah,
way, Mikaela can lock down me, and then I can just Glissa destroy the lockdown, get my bat back.
yeah. It's hard because the heat harvest, it will ramp Mikaela, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough either way because whatever is going underneath that bat, the bat's probably not going to be on the field for too long.
True. Yeah, it is certainly a tough call. I think really any choice there is defensible.
Yeah, because now Mikaela has to decide: do I want to play the temporary lockdown? And Skybilz is probably not going to play into it because
Mm-hmm.
they know that it's coming. So
Yeah,
it's going to kind
absolutely.
of force Mikaela to maybe use it prematurely, or just take some beats from bats.
Yeah, and it looks like we're just gonna play our land, get in with our bat here, and looks like Glissa might be coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like playing Glissa a good deal. I mean, like you said, we really don't want to play into that lockdown. Uh, Glissa is a problem that you have to solve.
Mm-hmm. And lockdown that only hits mana value 2 or less. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So Glissa, that lockdown can't touch Glissa.
Nope, count them 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so Mikaela could lock down the bat, get the sunfall, but that's never ideal, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to be getting more value out of things like that, but it's it's really tough. You also just can't let your opponent run away with just little critters. Every point of damage here kind of matters.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? Well, I say that, but then I realize Skybilz still doesn't have 2 black mana. Oh, there is a blossoming March though.
Yeah, I think we already played a land this.
Hmm.
No, have we played a land this turn? Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Because Mikaela's up 1 land from the harvest.
yeah. All right. So Dread Knight, I think this would probably be enough for Mikaela to play out the lockdown.
Yeah, I think if I'm Mikaela, I'm pretty happy to be playing this lockdown. But if you don't have a follow up for the Glissa, oh, the track's even better.
Yeah, Mikaela probably knows that one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in Skybilz's hand is probably removal. But I think at this point she's just trying to refill her hand to get more gas so that she can stay in this game.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Glissa's ability to just take care of lockdown, get everything back, makes it pretty difficult to play. We really need to find some way to get Gliss off the board, which it looks like we did.
Yeah. There's a lot of options. Unfortunately, the way the screen's cut, we're not. There we go.
Yeah, it looks like we got a Harvest, a Beanstalk, and a Traxa, a Sunfall, and an Archive.
Ooh. Out of all of those options, I think is the first Sunfall the most attractive one right now. You're gonna wipe Skybilz' board and get your second Sunfall back.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we had a Leyline Binding as an option as well, but I really like the pickup of the Beans over it. Because I just feel like Golgari has so many ways to deal with enchantments that the stuff like the bindings can line up kind of awkwardly, but cards are always great. Cards could be anything, even a Leyline Binding.
Mm-hmm. If your first Leyline Binding gets broken, just hit another one.
Yep. And we're gonna get in for some damage. We're gonna draw off of our Mosswood. And Mikaela with her Cavern of Souls naming Angel. Sorry, Sky, you will not be countering any angels this game.
The one thing you have to worry about in Golgari, those counter spells.
It's brutal.
All right, Sunfall will indeed be the play here, and a Heaped Harvest to keep ramping more and more.
Yeah, keep it going.
Liliana, that's the second one to hand, probably not the most useful right now, especially when Mikaela has so many cards. She could just as easily ditch the meticulous archive. So it's tricky because that's.
Yeah, it's certainly not the card that Sky was hoping to draw, but I mean, Liliana just feels like it's so good in the matchup that, you know, there've got to be some cards that you'd be even less excited to draw.
Yeah. On Mikaela's side, I think I would probably be going for a herd migration this next turn. That's just going to put so many bodies on the floor that I don't think Skybilz can, readily handle.
Oh yeah, I would certainly enjoy you doing a herd migration more than something like an Atraxa right now.
Yeah.
Liliana can just take care of that.
Yeah, I think you could actually Beanstalk and herd migration if I counted correctly.
Oh, what a turn. Yeah, it looks like we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 mana available. So that's exactly enough to Beans and Herd, or Beans and Atraxa, however Kayla wants to play it. Or Atraxa and activate your token creature so Liliana can't make you sacrifice Atraxa.
Yeah, there's plenty of options on Mikaela's side. Looks like herd migration is the play.
Okay. Take a little surveil here off the Meticulous Archive.
Not sure where it went.
Who knows?
Not sure what it was or where it went, but
I feel confident it went in the right direction. Right. Looks like a
second herd migration off the Beans.
Yeah, like Beans after the herd migration, got another one off of it.
All right, the Deep Cavern Bat coming out. Take a peek at Mikaela's hand, seeing what those other two cards are. You have to take the herd migration, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think you're scared of Sunfall, of course. Like, it's actually really great for you. Same with Temporary Lockdown. Those cards basically don't exist. Atraxa, you have removal for.
All right, taking the Atraxa. I mean, to be fair, the Atraxa will just continue to refill Mikaela's hand. So I can respect that option, but like you said, the Sunfall and Temporary Lockdown were no-brainers.
Yeah. Those cards don't exist right now. But yeah, not keeping your opponent off of refilling the hand with Atraxa, totally reasonable line.
Looks like
Mikaela's got two easy choices here on the Liliana discard.
Poor Bronco to the grave.
Yeah, Bronco to the grave, Lockdown to the grave. Mikaela choosing not to exile her 5 beasts.
Hard choice. Sometimes beasts need to go to timeout, but All right. If I'm Mikaela, am I sending all? Oh, okay, all at Liliana. I was thinking I'd probably just send them all to face here because Liliana
Yeah,
can tick down and make you sacrifice one, but if you do herd migration again, you're just gonna refill the board.
yeah. You definitely can. I wonder if there's any card in Skybill's deck that Michaela is particularly worried about letting them stabilize.
Let me take a peek and see, because I can do that.
Because certainly a Liliana ultimate is like how you lose the game, right? Even from here. It's just would Skybilz have been able to get 2 turns away
Mm-hmm.
with Liliana, and that's trickier.
Yeah, looking at the deck, there an Aclazotz could be a little tricky to play around, but with a if the Sunfall was still in hand, that would take care of the Aclazotz. But there's no just board wipes that would take out all the beasts in one shot.
Yeah, and it looks like we duressed away the Sunfall, and we're just doing a feed the cycle on one of the beast tokens, which is never the position you want to be in.
Mm-mm.
This leaves us with what, 9, 10 3/3s?
Yeah, 30 potential damage.
Which we can make one go away with Liliana if we really want to. Yeah, this
27.
this looks like it's game. This looks like it's
Yeah.
game. Send a message with the bat, love that, and then concede. Beautiful, beautiful.
All right, going into game 2, I'm trying to see. There's choking miasma, but that's all creatures get -2, -2, so that's not going to be enough to take out all those beasts.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some cards here that I think we definitely love. Duress, Liliana, uh, maybe even like Tranquil Throwback.
Yeah, I don't dislike the tranquil throwback. Knowing that it can take out leyline bindings, gain some life. Not a terrible choice.
Yeah, I think also just being a body, there's some value to.
Mm-hmm. It can also take out those temporary lockdowns. So if some of the
True.
creatures, the bats or the dread knights, get tucked under the lockdown, that can also get those back. So yeah, I think the throwbacks are a good bring in. It looks like both Terra Sunders are also coming in.
Yeah, I really like the Terra Sunders. You really need stuff to deal with the big problems with the deck.
Mm-hmm. The
Of course,
disfigures
forbidding the
definitely came out.
discard. Yeah, the disfigures they do nothing here.
Mm-hmm. And I think the one feed the cycle also came out.
Yeah, I mean it is a tricky spot to be mulliganing in if you're Skybilz. I mean, as we were saying earlier, this is just a matchup where it feels like the ramp deck is already so favored, and I'll have to take another look at Michaela's deck, but I imagine she just becomes more favored post board.
Mm-hmm. Mikaela's sideboard.
Let's see here.
There's some negates potentially.
Yeah, the negates are probably pretty good. Oh, the obstinate Baloths are so good. And then I don't know. Do you even want the other 2 lockdowns?
I No, it looks like she's taking all the lockdowns out, actually.
I like that a lot. I mean, as we were saying earlier, they just have so many ways of dealing with your enchantments, and you've got creatures with ETB effects and stuff. It can be really awkward.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of like you're metagaming the meta deck. You're thinking you're going into it probably having played Golgari midrange a fair amount, knowing they're going to sideboard in a lot of enchantment destruction. So if I just take all my, a lot of my enchantments out, then they're playing cards that don't negatively impact me, and I can play other things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it looks like we're bringing in. I mean, we definitely want our board wipes, and I mean, Sunfall is so effective against a Golgari deck because you also deal with the Dread Knights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, the Sunfalls hit the Glissas, which that's, one of the big things that, temporary lockdown can't hit, that you do not want to stay on board for long.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, again, we're just still in this position of your deck already is favored. Like you're already like in such a good spot. I don't think you want to overboard or anything. You just run it back and do it again.
All right. Ooh, that double mulligan, not the place you want to be.
Yeah, certainly not. And I mean, this is like your kind of your dream hand if you're Skybilz, especially if you're seeing the double mulligan from Mikaela. I mean, duress, go for the throw Glissa. You've got it all locked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that hand disruption is really going to hurt on a mold of 5.
Yeah, I mean that's just devastating. This is the path to victory for Skybilz.
All right. Yeah, take the ramp, and then you'll take the Jace in a second.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's any line where you actually just hold off on duressing, but I think forcing Mikaela to play off the top of her deck is pretty strong.
Oh, and a
Oh
bat.
my, what a card to draw. What a card to draw. Now, do you think you go Deep Cavern Bat or Glissa here?
I I would probably be greedy and go Glissa, thinking that Mikaela probably didn't draw into something too crazy helpful, but
Yeah,
that may not be the move.
I think playing Glissa is very reasonable because we know there's land in hand.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like this a whole lot.
Yeah, it also puts pressure on because the longer this game goes, Mikaela tends to be more and more favored. So if
Yeah,
Skybilz can put that pressure on Mikaela, she's more likely to come out winning this one, especially when Mikaela's
absolutely.
already at a disadvantage mulling down.
Yeah, and so Heaped Harvest, it specifically says when you sacrifice it. It's not when it leaves the battlefield, right?
I can
So
look that up real fast. Give me 2 seconds.
I think we could potentially eat it with Glissa. She eats artifacts too, right? Not just enchantments.
Yeah, I can also look that up. It does say uh, when you sacrifice it, you may search your library. So, yes, it does have to be sacrificed.
Oh,
And
Glissa's just enchantment, though. That's the problem.
mhm. All right.
Mikaela choosing to hold her beans.
With the beans being an enchantment, I can understand because I think as soon as Glissa makes contact, it's just over for the beans.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable as well. I mean, it definitely gets punished in a very big way by this Liliana.
Hmm. Yeah. To be fair, though, the Glissa is the information Mikaela knows.
Sure,
The
that's true.
Liliana,
That's true.
while
It's
unfortunate,
very reasonable to play around the cards that you know and not the ones that you don't.
Mikaela will gain 3 life and go get another land, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're close to this is the beautiful thing about oh, that's so brutal.
Oh, yeah, only being one land away from being able to play it, this is not great for Mikaela. That's not what you wanted to draw there.
Yeah, the great thing about the ramp deck is the top of your deck is very, very strong. Like you can imagine if we had one more land, how good that attracts a draw would have been. Even though like we have a go for the throat, we have a Liliana, like
It's
just
just refilling
refills
your
us.
hand, yeah.
Yeah.
You go from, like, feeling out of it to right back in the game if an Atraxa hits the board, even if it's immediately removed.
Yeah, I mean, Mikaela could rip a Sunfall, which pretty cleanly deals with just about everything. Like we wipe the board, we get a creature to attack the Liliana next turn.
Mm.
Is
Uh,
if you could just have flipped the order that we drew these cards.
Exactly. Unfortunately, that mulling down to 5 and all that disruption just, yeah, put Mikaela back too far, and Skybilz came in swinging.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, very well played by both players.
mhm,
Very, very well played by Skybilz to really identify what matters here in the matchup, and you know,
absolutely. Now, going into game 3, looks like some of this frillbacks came out.
yeah, it looks like we're making some choices here on these Broncos.
I don't hate it. The Broncos, I feel like, haven't really done very much in this last game, the first two games. They've kind of just been, discard fodder, but they haven't actually, I don't think any of them have attacked or drawn any cards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
They are a cheaper creature, but I do think I would prefer maybe a frillback or just more disruption than the Broncos here.
yeah, I think that is totally reasonable. I mean, especially when we have stuff like lockdown, which we know that Mikaela boarded all of those out, but Sky doesn't know that. Like
Hmm.
we don't know.
And there's
They
a,
do
a
not have the caster vision that we do.
Yeah, and there's a real potential that Mikaela may put some temporary lockdowns back in.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, it's I think it is less common in standard than any other format to very dramatically change your mulligans on play draw, but I think this is an instance where it would make a lot of sense, like being able to on the play slam down your lockdown could be relevant. It could matter.
Hmm. Looks like Michaela's, you know, saying, "I already did this once. It was fine." Maybe
Yeah,
bringing
I
an
mean,
Archangel of Wrath back in.
yeah, run it back.
Now the question is, what's that last cut? Is it a herd migration? All right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, I mean, despite how last game went, I still think Mikaela is just heavily favored. Uh,
Yeah,
and as long as she's not mulling to 5 and getting duress bat, uh, I think she's in a pretty good spot.
yeah, no, I completely agree. This looks like a great hand for Mikaela. She can herd migration on 2, harvest on 3. Um, or just Jace on 3 if she really wanted.
Yep, and we're just gonna draw a card with our Dread Knight here, and looks like Mikaela's gonna take the opportunity to maybe play this herd migration out, get a
Yeah,
land.
I I'm sure I'm playing this wrong, but I might actually be greedy seeing what Mikaela has in hand and the heaped harvest. I may have actually just kept it and waited till I had 7 to play it and try to go for all the beasts. I'm sure that's terrible and that's not the right move. But I always have that greed factor of I just want beasts. I don't want the land.
And I think there's certainly a temptation of like, if I flood out, then this is like a win condition for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also just something to be said for playing your spells when you can. And I mean, especially with the Domain Ramp deck, this is a deck that you don't want to miss a land drop. You want to hit them all. So
All right, Glissa coming down. We did talk about this earlier that Glissa does not break artifacts. She only breaks enchantments.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, this is actually really interesting because if Jace comes out, Jace gives -3, -0 when you plus him up. So that would effectively make Glissa just kind of
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah, I mean, Glissa's trigger is on combat damage, which she won't be doing. So,
Hmm.
yeah, extremely effective answer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Skybilz just hasn't really gotten anything to disrupt what Mikaela's doing. And Mikaela's got lots of gas over there. And unfortunately, Skybilz has the Terra Sunder, but Mikaela has the mana open to just break the Heaped Harvest. So it's not
Yeah.
looking great for Skybilz right now.
Yeah, it's certainly looking awkward.
The Terra Sunder will take care of Jace.
Yeah, I think that's probably like your best and close to your only play this turn.
Yeah, that I agree. There's not really much else you can do. Um, can't play out the other Glissa legend rule. Could play out both Mosswood Dread Knights, but then Mikaela does have 5 mana, two of it being white, so you're just playing into Sunfall. So it's not an easy position to be in. So I think that was the right move from Skybilz.
Yeah, and I think the problem here is just Michaela's hand looks so much better than Skybilz.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Binding, Sunfall, we've got a Planeswalker that's really hard for Skybilz to answer. And they just have second Glissa, which doesn't feel very good. Dread Knight, which just feels like a little too slow for the moment, and then Go for the Throat, which doesn't look like it's got much in the way of targets coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Nissa coming down, making a 4/4. Glissa does have first strike, so could just kill it, or just, kill it with the Go for the Throat and deal direct damage to the Nissa.
Yeah, you can also deal your damage to face and remove 3 counters from Nissa.
Oh, that's true.
But that
I
is the secret, like, 5th line of text on Glissa that
I always forget about that.
I think it's very interesting with the new enchantment overlords in Duskmourn.
Oh, that's a good point because they have time counters, but these
Yeah,
time counters also tick down on your instep rather than what was
yeah,
the suspending. Suspending does it
yeah.
on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of lines where you like play Glissa on 3 and then play one of those and attack and just remove 3 counters from it and it comes online immediately. It's
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty, especially with I think it's the black one that comes in with 5. You can pay 2 and it comes in with 5 time counters. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah, it's
whew.
gross. It's gross.
All right, Leyline Binding coming out saying, "Sorry, Glissa, first one was bad enough. Second one."
Yeah, and I mean, Michaela's kind of exactly in the position that she wants to be in right now. We've got a dominating board state and we have mana, so the top of our deck is just online for the rest
Hmm.
of the game.
Yeah, Skybilz is going to have to do something about that Nissa because this is not looking good. I think the Gix's command can take out the 2/2s, but I think it's power 2 or less. So that 1/3/3 will stay there, and if Nissa doesn't leave soon, um, you're just going to get stronger and stronger creatures that you're going to have to deal with somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a difficult planeswalker to deal with, especially when you're on the back foot like this.
Hmm. Yeah, because you're just going to end up chumping with the 3/3. Nissa will make a 4/4. It's, yeah, not the best position.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the potential to do a Gix's command next turn, and maybe, I mean, I don't think we can kill the Nissa with it, but I think we can get pretty close.
Yeah. Let's see what Skybilz is going to do. Going to activate the cottage.
Sure, and we're presenting Mikaela with a little bit of a choice here. Do you want to take the, do you want to trade your 4/4 for my 4/4? You just want to block the 3/2 with your 4/4. Either way, this is going to give Skybilz another draw off of the Dread Knight, which we are going to take immediately into another Dread Knight. Ooh, backup Nissa.
Oh, that is really not what Skybilz is going to want to see here. If you're Mikaela, do you just slam the other one and make another? What would it come out as? A 7/7?
Yeah, it comes down. Well, I think it's an 8/8 because it pluses first. Yeah, I mean that certainly feels like a slam the door in the face kind of situation. I don't know how Skybilz could even really punish at this point.
Well, Tiny Bones does have Death Touch, so I mean that's at least a block for that 8/8, but that's not ideal when the next turn Nissa can just make a 9/9.
Yeah, it's certainly tricky here, and I mean Gix's command becoming worse by the second.
Yeah, because that Liliana, you play the Liliana, they sack a 2/2. This is so tricky.
Yeah, and I mean, we can ult the Nissa next turn as well. And that's, giving all of our creatures trample and I don't know, probably +4. Hard to see what
are the lush porticos
are.
The lush porticos, are those considered?
Yes, they are.
Then yeah, 4.
Yeah. So I mean, that should just be game. And we can make her sack the 2/2. I think we're just dead on board.
Yeah, the trample, it's gonna be way
the trample is very relevant.
It's like Mikaela might be doing some mental math.
Yeah, in these situations, you always just want to double check. Be like, do I have it? It's like Skybilz is also checking. Does she have it?
Yeah. 8,
the answer is
12,
yes.
14, 15. All right. It looks like Mikaela's going for the Nissa activation, doing just that. Everything gets +4/+4. Send it.
Well, the trample does it. That is going to be game. Congratulations to Mythic Mikaela on the domain ramp list. Really taking it down against Golgari mid.
Yeah, just showing that, Golgari may be the top deck of the week, but it doesn't mean it can, beat everything. Domain ramp is still in it.
Yeah, and I think that's really speaks to the health of the format of Standard right now, that there are so many different kinds of decks at the moment, and they're all viable and they're all good against some things and weaker to others. And two very skilled pilots on display here, and really great to watch. Congratulations again to Mikaela, but very well played to Skybilz as well. All right, are you ready to see what our next match is going to look like, Misha?
Yes, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, taking a look here, we've got AllieGolem on the Gruul Prowess list. What do you think about their deck, Misha?
I am so excited for this deck. I do love a good aggro mashup. This one in particular, I tend to play a lot of mono red, but this one's got protection spells. It's got the monstrous rage, your monastery Swiss spheres, and you know it's prowess. But Slickshot Show Off technically doesn't have prowess. It's like front end prowess with the double pump on your power, no toughness.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
mean, we'll count it.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
mean, devastating deck, very powerful, so much damage out of nowhere with cards like that
mhm.
Slickshot Show Off.
Yeah, and this deck also has protection. It's running 4 of Snakeskin Veils, so good luck touching the Slickshot Show Offs or the Monastery Swiss Spheres if there's a green open.
Yeah, that's what I really like about the Gruul builds of these sort of, aggressive prowess decks specifically, is I think that Snakeskin Veil matters a lot. I also think that the talent,
The Hunter's Talent, yeah.
the Hunter's talent, I think that is an extremely relevant card.
Oh,
Very excited
absolutely.
to see how that plays out.
Yeah, no, I think this is gonna be great because it's sometimes a little tricky trying to do like removal spells that you know, it's not always the easiest. You can have like shocks and things like that, but those don't always take care of all of the threats on the other side. If the creature on the other side has, power 3 or it's not power, if toughness 3 or 4, a lot of the mono red like lightning bolts, lightning helixes or
Hmm.
things like that can't quite take care of it. But the hunter's talent, if you can get your slick shot show off or your Swiss spear pumped up enough, you can take out those threats and just keep smashing through.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at what Allie's going to be playing up against. It looks like it is going to be SaraAscendant on Izzet Prowess. A little bit of Prowess v Prowess here.
Yeah, when I saw that this was the matchup, or I was like, I really hope this makes coverage because Gruul versus Is It Prowess, which one will come out on top? I'm so excited. This one also is playing Monster Swiss Spheres and Slick Shot Show Offs. Wow, that is a tongue twister. But this one, you're gonna get some elusive otters. You're gonna get the oh, what's that
Looks like we
little
got some
blue?
shore ups, sleight of hands.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna get protection in a different way.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Who do you think is favored in this like almost weird inverse mirror?
This is tricky because both decks have a lot of strong cards. I think I'm partial to Gruul just because I've played it. I'm a little bit more familiar with it. But
Hmm.
honestly, I think it's going to be a pretty equal matchup. I think a lot of the cards being the same. Um, I think it's just going to be what comes down to who has a better hand and who has the protection spells and the mana available to play them. So it's going to be, I think, a lot of sequencing.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm excited to see it. Let's jump into the match and see how it goes down. All right, here we go with Sarah on Izzet Prowess at the top of our screen here, and Allie on Gruul Prowess at the bottom here. What do you think about this opening hand, Misha?
I think this is okay. You're not getting your monastery Swiss spheres on one, but that's okay. The slick shot show off can come out on two, or if you want to plot it to hopefully draw into some protection and then play it on three and hold up some other stuff in order to, give it pumps. Oh, where were you last turn, Swift Spear?
Oh, that's a tough one. Now we do get the Storm Chaser's talent from Sarah on turn one, making the 1/1 Prowess Otter token, followed up by Allie's Slick Shot on two, just getting in for a little point of damage.
Mm-hmm. I I don't dislike the 1 point of damage. I am a little bit worried though because now that slick shot show off is just you know
Yeah, we're
there.
leaving it a little bit exposed, that's for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Okay, we're gonna see a monastery Swift spear coming from SaraAscendant and another Storm Chaser's talent. I think that's the right play here. Could have gone. Well, no, the mana we only had blue green available, so
Yeah.
that was a good play.
Yeah, I think that's very good. Right now we have the board advantage, so let's keep it that way. Let's keep building the board out and, you know, we can hold this monstrous rage for later.
The Fugitive Codebreaker coming out. Not sure if Allie thought that they had a second red to be able to play the Swift Sphere, but that's okay. It's there and it's ready for next turn. It could also hold up blocks if they wanted.
Yeah, but blocking against this is really awkward because everything has prowess.
Yeah, and it's dangerous because right now you can block, but we know that there's a monstrous rage, and it doesn't even have to go on that 2/2 per se because it's going to get a pump either way. But this does give it the trample to force that damage through. So I would agree that is the right creature to put it on.
Yeah, and Sara really being rewarded for playing that monstrous rage a little patiently, and taking the build the board line on her second turn there, was able to really capitalize and get even just like a little bit extra value out of the monstrous rage. I think these sorts of matches are won by inches, not miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That game may not have been over just then. We knew that Sara only had 2 lands in hand, and
Mm-hmm.
any non-land off the top would have probably been game. But Allie may have still been in it, but sometimes you just know you're behind and you just want to go ahead, sideboard into what you know is going to help you in this game.
Yeah. Hard position to play from, that is for sure. Oh man, the great arena mulligan bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Go, and we're looking at. I mean, I don't think a ton of this sideboard is super relevant in the matchup.
No, honestly, I think I want to keep just my normal 60.
Yeah, I don't know if you bring anything in. Maybe you bring in some
Maybe the
Witch Stalker's
Witchstalker's Frenzy,
Frenzies.
because you are making a lot of little otters and trying to get a lot of creatures out. So Witchstalker's Frenzy may end up being better, but yeah, gonna board those in, take the shocks out. I was gonna say a lot of the creatures that Allie is playing do get taken out by shock, but that's only if they haven't gotten a prowess trigger off of them. Granted, slick shot show off doesn't do prowess, so it would still stay a 2 toughness creature, but
Mm-hmm.
the Swift Spheres and some of the other creatures do grow.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at like Monstrous Rage, Snakeskin Veil, Hunter's Talent, I think Shock lines up pretty awkward, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it looks like we're getting into game 2 here. A very quick mulligan from Allie into a kind of tricky looking hand. I mean, Hunter's Talent, very important card, but no creatures. What do you think?
Yeah, I would keep it just because the shock can maybe take out an early game threat, like say Sara plays that Sphere on 1, and we know that
Mm-hmm.
there's not another mana available.
Yeah, and it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. So I wonder if Allie is going to feel inclined, to go ahead and take out the Swift Spear here.
All right. Might of the Meek, is that a instant? I believe it is.
It is. It is. You +1/+0 till end of turn. If you control a mouse, it gets trample and you draw a card.
Mm-hmm. All right. This Wren's Resolve, looking for any creature. And is it to the end of the next turn? That's a card that I'm not all that familiar with.
Wren's Resolve is, yes, till the end of your next turn. And it looks like we hit the Keen-Eyed Curator off of it, so we should be able to play that next turn.
I really like the Keen-Eyed Curator. It does take 2 green mana, but a 3/3 for 2, not bad. And if you can exile a bunch of cards from graveyards, you can potentially pump it up even more. It might be a little bit tricky in this matchup because I think most of the things that are going to be going into the graveyards are either creatures or instants, but you never know.
Yeah, I really love this play from Allie. We get to play both of our cards from the Rin's Resolve. We get to get our Hunter's Talent online. Uh, very, very, very good stuff here.
Yeah, the Hunter's Talent also might be a little tricky getting up to 4 power, but if you level it all the way up, can potentially, draw you some cards. The
Yeah, absolutely.
the Snakeskin Veil would give a +1/+1 counter.
That's true. That's true. That would get us there. So we're going to go ahead and level up our talent here. And of course, we can at any time activate our Keen-Eyed Curator's ability, exile some stuff from the graveyard. Once that has eaten 4 card types, we'll have +4/+4 on it, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
pretty significant.
Oh, and yeah, I guess I forgot about that fact that whenever you attack, you get a +1/+0, and Innkeeper's Talent just cares about power 4. So if Allie were to level the Hunter's Talent all the way next turn, I think the Keen-Eyed Curator can actually draw cards just as it is.
Yeah, that's great.
You're okay just as you are, buddy.
Yeah. Now, I think Sarah really wishes she had a little bit more going on in the hand here on this double slick shot turn. But
Mm-hmm.
still, being able to get your talent down, make a little otter, you're not too upset about this.
Yeah, this is really dangerous for Allie because that's 3, 6, 7, 8 damage.
Yeah, I mean you're at half life now.
Mm-hmm. And you know that Sarah has a Might of the Meek in hand.
Yeah, which is, like plus, I don't know, 1, 2, 6, 7 damage and a redraw. That's pretty devastating.
Mm-hmm. Gonna take out one of the slick shots at least, but not having anything with reach is a little scary.
Yeah, very scary indeed.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say attacking with both is that's
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary.
that yeah. But as it stands, this is not a great place for Allie to be in. So
Oh no, not at all. And looks like we are going to go ahead and Might of the Meek the Slick Shot Show Off to start things off.
and there is one green available, so the Elusive Otter's adventure side, I believe, can get played and trigger, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be, I think that's lethal.
Sure. We're doing it twice. Yeah, I mean, this is even just the Slick Shot in the air is enough.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, as
Yeah, and
we as we see here, apparently, Izzet Prowess came out on top tonight.
yeah, absolutely. Huge congrats to Sarah there for taking it down with Izzet Prowess, a very cool take on these sort of prowess decks that we're seeing in standard a lot right now.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Storm Chaser's talent really showed, why it's so strong in this deck, getting just an otter on one and getting to get back an instant or sorcery to replay later. That I think that was kind of the MVP for me of that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ability to, affect the board immediately while also having a mana sink for later. Because with these decks, what we see a lot is they will just go through all of their cards by like turn 3. And so then you're just playing top deck, except for the top of your deck is extremely weak, unlike the domain ramp deck we saw earlier. So having
Mm-hmm.
a place where you can put your mana is super powerful. And as we saw, I mean, it really helped Sarah out a ton. So Again, great job to both players. Congratulations to Sarah. Way to take it down, and good luck in the rest of your VML matches.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
Mitra, you ready for more?
yeah, I was gonna say we're halfway through, so let's get into the second half of the show.
Let's do it. All right, we got Sammy here on Azorius tokens. What do you think about this deck?
Honestly, I personally am not much of an Azorius player, but the control type. The Azorius tokens, I'm into it. I really like it. It's this isn't as aggressive as some of like the other token decks that we have right now, but honestly, Caretaker's talent and Builder's talent really, really pop off and draw you a lot of cards. You're making lots and lots of tokens. They're not always creatures. It's fun. I really like this deck. You still do have your control elements. Every Azorius deck has those. I feel. You have your Sunfalls. You've got your it's not the Wandering Emperor. It's the
The Eternal
Eternal.
Wanderer.
Yeah, the Eternal Wanderer. uh, so this is a pretty strong deck in my opinion. I've been really happy. I think we had a couple of Azorius tokens decks last week that showed up and played really well. I think there's a couple No More Lies, so you do have your counter magic, but it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see it play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the talents are very good. I think Fountainport is a generational talent, the likes of which we have not seen in years. I think that card's incredible. I am excited to see it in Standard. I'm excited to see this deck play out. Let's see what Sammy is up against this week. Looks like we have Amanda, and she is on Domain Ramp. Right now, this list is a little bit different from what we saw Mikaela playing earlier, but at its core, pretty much the same. What are your thoughts on this deck, on this matchup?
I'm very curious to see how the tokens deck stands up to the I think it's 2 main board temporary lockdowns, 4 main board sunfalls. Even just the Archangel of Wrath, depending on how big the tokens are. I know there's like Elspeths that can pump them and ways to make them bigger. But when they're so small and vulnerable, those Archangel of Wrath can just ping them off pretty easily. So I I would probably say that I think Domain Ramp is favored in this matchup, but the other deck is a little bit controlling. I do see Cavern of Souls, so those counter spells may not do too much, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's very interesting. I'm very excited to see it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it and see how this plays out. Looks like we're going to have Sammy here on the bottom on our Azorius tokens build, and Amanda on the top on Domain Ramp. All right, now this is a Multi 6 that we're looking at right now. What are our thoughts?
Oh, it has removal.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't a Multi 6. That was the opening 7. That's my bad.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. The 2 get lost, I think, are okay, and I'm interested to see this Fabled Passage if it goes and searches out a blue or a second white for the Sunfall.
I feel like it's got to be blue, right? Like we really want to play that Jace, maybe even on 3.
Yeah.
There we go. And pretty rewarded by drawing the Teferi immediately thereafter. Got to be sweating a little bit if you're Sammy, hoping to hit some lands before turn 4.
Yeah, having the 2 get lost is good, but you need more lands to play some of your planeswalkers. Seeing that second Teferi, probably not what Sammy's looking for right now, but at least Jace is going to come down, can pay the 2 life to pay for the Phyrexian mana, and yeah, gonna mill herself.
Yeah, and still no lands. Looks like we milled over one of them, but really hoping to draw a land next turn. Oh, and then the Leyline Binding for 3 mana to take out the Jace actually lines up really nice into our Get Lost. Could
Mhm.
give us the full loyalty counters on Jace once we take care of that thing.
Yeah, that Leyline Binding, not long for this world. Amanda playing out a Heaped Harvest, gonna go search up another land. The domain deck is doing domain things.
Yeah, and getting the talent down, very good for Sammy here. If we can get any sort of token generation happening, we're in a really good spot. Right now, we need that land.
Mm-hmm. Gonna surveil. Looks like. Ooh.
That is tough. That is tough.
Mm-hmm. Gonna gonna get lost the Leyline Binding, get the Jace back, full loyalty.
Yeah, that is very nice. Like we don't actually have the mana to play a Jace at full loyalty, but being able to simply get one, and that will find our fourth land drop. That is huge for Sammy.
Mm-hmm. That was exactly what she needed here.
Right, she is one untapped mana source away from playing out a Teferi. Even if we don't find one, we have the ability to hold up, get lost, and no more lies. And I mean, we're approaching the turn where no more lies is a pretty important spell.
Oh, absolutely. There's no Caverns of Souls out right now, so if an Atraxa or oh, that would have been a good one to No More Lies.
That would have been a good one. We are happy to have another Get Lost. Um,
Absolutely.
and we do have the mana to Get Lost and hold up No More Lies. We did draw an Enigma Jewel for turn, which might be tempting for Sammy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take our draw first. See, I mean, we hit an untapped land. We're really happy. Halfway there.
Yeah, it's at least a land.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it was going to be at least another 3 draws before we were going to hit a land, so that was a good mill.
Yeah. It's like we're surveilling, leaving a builder's talent on top, I believe. Let's
Mm-hmm.
take care of that Nissa, and then looks like we're opting to hold up the No More Lies mana. Really like that from Sammy.
I agree. If Nissa was that last play, I'm assuming something else pretty nasty is probably going to come from Amanda here very soon.
Yeah, I feel like the 7 mana turn is where you're really scared of Domain Ramp.
Oh, absolutely. There's there's so many nasty 7 drops. Holding up a counter spell, I think is always the right move.
Yeah, very, very good here. Very disciplined and patient play. Let's see if, yep, we're just going to shove this Atraxa, going to line up really nicely into Sammy's No More Lies, get that thing exiled. We'll draw the Builder's Talent that we knew about.
All right, here. All right, Teferi's coming down. I was going to say, what is the move? Making the 2/2 does at least, give us a blocker to keep Teferi alive. I was going to say, like, if I'm Sammy, do I waste a Sunfall? I don't really want to waste a Sunfall on just one token.
Yeah, I like playing the Teferi a lot. We start to be able to kind of, make tokens, draw cards, grow Teferi, grow the tokens.
Mm.
Oh, a Leyline Binding, though, for Amanda. Looks like we're taking care of that Teferi. Joke's on you, we've got another Teferi.
Oh, that seems to be the, joke of the evening is that,
Oh, that's right.
first one, Leyline Binding, don't worry, we got a second one. Got that spare.
Yeah, and I mean, these 4 map tokens might end up proving somewhat relevant for Amanda uh, to really let us figure out what's on top of the deck. And, ooh, Temp Lockdown feels like not what we want right now.
No, I think I'd be shoving that in the graveyard real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, get lost against a domain deck. It's not my favorite because I feel like it just gives the domain player so much more. Like,
Hmm.
if they're looking for lands, it's a great way to get those lands. If they're just looking for counters, just looking to see what's on the top, it's yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's a hefty fee for the all of the pros of uh, our good friend Get Lost. We are going to play our Builder's Talent for turn. We're going to play this Collector's Vault. We're going to play the Enigma Jewel. We're just going to take a setup turn. We're really going to take advantage of the fact that we saw Amanda bin a temporary lockdown, and I like that a lot. We go Get
Mhm.
Lost on the Caretaker's Talent. We're going to make some map tokens of our own.
Everybody gets a map.
Everybody gets a map. We're going to draw a Cavern of Souls off of the map token.
That poor Cavern of Souls a few turns too late to save the Atraxa.
And then up the Beanstalk. I think I'm pretty happy to see up the Beanstalk.
Oh no, absolutely. If I'm Amanda, anything to help me draw some more cards to draw into more action is welcomed.
Yep. We're going to go ahead and chump this 9/9 Nissa token with our 0/4 wall here.
All right, Nile, if you're Sammy, I was gonna say what are you playing out here? Like Eternal Wanderer to get rid of that 9/9?
Eternal Wanderer to get rid of the 9/9 is pretty tempting. Normally, Eternal Wanderer isn't like the cleanest way to deal with a creature, but in this case, it is.
Mm-hmm.
We get to uptick kill it. It's like we're living in the Oko days.
Yeah, you don't want to do that on an Atraxa by any means,
No,
but a token, absolutely.
absolutely. You love to do it on a token. We've got oh man, another Leyline Binding with the redraw off of the Beanstalk. Huge play for Amanda here.
Is that 3 Leyline Bindings now? Because I think one of them
One of
was.
them got Get Lost in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is third Leyline Binding. And I believe we have the mana to Fountain Port at the end of turn here, which I think is why Sammy, you know, did not let Auto Tapper take the wheel there last turn.
Mm-hmm. Auto Tapper can really get you. It's gotten me plenty of times.
Yeah. We also have the mana to Collector's Vault if we so choose. Oh, Temp
Oh,
Lockdown.
this is gonna hurt.
Yeah. So I mean we get to draw a card.
Mm-hmm. Those maps are coming in handy.
Maps are coming in quite handy for both players, that's for sure. And now, I mean, this Teferi is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, when you look at the hand sizes of both players, and you know that 3 leyline bindings have already been used, that temporary lockdowns, you know, gone now. I I don't think the Teferi is too bad to play.
Yeah, and we are making sure we tap our lands right. It looks like Sammy is just forgetting to tap the 6th land here. But there we go. Looks like we're good.
Gonna make a spirit. All right.
This is good. I mean, we've got board presence. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
hope that Amanda doesn't have, better board presence.
Yeah, which to be fair, domain ramp, you can, like you said, every card off the top is
It's
usually
power.
gas. Because you're going and searching out so many lands, like the chances that you're going to draw gas in domain is pretty high.
Nope. And Demolition Field to take care of the Cavern of Souls. I think our only counter spells are the No More Lies. It probably doesn't come up with how much mana Amanda has, but it's certainly right to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
might
I
as
mean,
well.
if you do get that, I think there's 2 of in this deck. If you do get that second No More Lies, it's great to be able to counter an Atraxa. It's it's not the worst. There's not
Absolutely.
that many targets I think in the domain deck where Demolition Field is a great hit.
Yeah, certainly not. And I mean, especially the domain deck of today, like they are not running out of basic lands, like you're not gonna start destroying their lands. So this is good. This is good. I mean, Amanda, she's got the mana, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She just needs to start drawing the impact.
Yeah, Amanda's ramped enough. Now she she just needs to draw the not ramp pieces.
Well, how about a little bit more ramp first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate thinning your deck a little bit more.
As a treat. Now, of course, the bad news for Amanda here is this Teferi and the tokens are kind of running away with it. The good news is Sammy's hand is basically nothing. It's basically 3 cards that don't exist.
Well, that was a good surveil for Amanda, getting another land off the top. That is not what she wants to draw right now.
Yeah.
Oh, those spirits, they just keep getting bigger.
They should. Oh, that is
Oh.
a devastating get lost to draw.
Absolutely. That temporary lockdown.
Yeah, we're just taking a look, seeing what all's under there. What all do I get back?
Yeah, it's like, what do I want? The temporary lockdown? Do I want my Wanderer? Probably don't want the second Teferi right now.
No,
First
probably.
Teferi is okay.
Not. Yeah, first Teferi is still pretty good. Yep, we get to attack with our bird and our tokens.
11 damage. That was a big hit. I think for Amanda, it's kind of just like Sunfall or bust here.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, we get a couple looks.
Maybe another temporary lockdown, second temporary.
Oh,
okay,
the top
okay.
off the beans, get a redraw. Sunfall, baby. This flips things around so quickly. We can sacrifice one of these tokens with Fountain Port to shrink the Sunfall and also draw us a card.
That is a good move. I do like that.
We still have the mana to get lost at end of turn though, and get back
Yeah.
our Enigma Jewel, our Collector's Vault.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I still want to get lost. The lockdown, set you up for your next turn.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty sure we are able to craft the Enigma Jewel here.
Sammy with 3 Sunfalls in hand, not what you want to see right now. Honestly, this Anchorage, and I would assume Sammy is going to crack the map.
Yeah. Second bird. Yeah, let's put Amanda down to 4.
Down to 4.
Hey, this is lethal next turn, by the way.
Maybe even 3.
Little base on the top. Don't need it. Send it straight to the graveyard. Go attacking, getting our maps. What a card, Restless Anchorage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now even just one of those birds is lethal.
Mm-hmm.
This 2/2 is lethal.
Yeah, Amanda is facing down a lot of threats right now. And unfortunately, I don't think many things in Amanda's deck can hit the Birdland.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, we've already seen 3 bindings, but binding doesn't hit it.
How many cards do you think Sammy has?
That's a great question. Because
this was looking pretty grim for Amanda, but okay.
Oh, draw 3 cards for Amanda. That's huge. And I mean, I'm trying to see. We've got Get Lost to deal with birds. I think we've already used 1 Get Lost, right? So
we have an Atraxa.
1 Get Lost. We have an Atraxa. That's huge. Draw 2 cards. Play an Atraxa. Now, the Get
Oh.
Lost from Sammy that she has been very patient with is really going to come in clutch here. Although we see the Get Lost off the top for Amanda. And we have enough to get lost and activate our Sunfall token.
Oh, this is just when I thought this game was gonna come to an end. You can never count it out.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, because there's a Leyline Binding, a Get Lost.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 map tokens are honestly pretty devastating for Amanda. Because we could very easily get the other bird into lethal range as well.
Mm-hmm. It's all gonna come down to, are they lands or are they non-lands?
Yep, and at end of turn here, and Sammy's gonna go ahead and
say goodbye, Atraxa.
Say goodbye, Atraxa. There's no counter spell. There's no way to stop this in the main deck. I think Amanda's sitting here trying to figure out, am I for sure dead next turn? And I think the answer is no, but probably.
It's going to be very, very close.
Leyline Binding in response, gonna draw a couple cards.
Gonna bind the
exile
spirit.
the 2/2, sure.
Just waiting with bated breath to see.
I think it all comes down to, does this map token hit a non-land?
Mm-hmm.
Do either of these map tokens hit a non-land?
All 4 Sunfalls here and accounted for in Sammy's hand.
All 4. Easy.
If Amanda plays a herd migration, Sammy is ready. All right, activating the anchorage.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card with Teferi.
Okay.
Activate
still not what you
second
want to
anchorage.
see.
I mean, we got to land off the top.
That's true. That is true.
You know, better to hit it with Teferi than with the map.
Okay.
And that is not a land. That should be game.
Yeah.
Leyline Binding cannot hit the anchorage. I don't think there's any other 1 mana source in the deck that can deal with these birds.
I don't believe there is. Oh, this was only game 1, Nile.
Yeah, this was a crazy game. Oh, Xaxes with the bird. Wow, great game from both of our players. Going into game 2 here, those Portal of Phyrexia's snap came in. Those came in so fast. I love it.
Oh goodness, I have not seen Portal to Phyrexia played in a minute. I do love that card when I play it.
It seems like it's really good against Domain, right?
Oh no, absolutely.
We also got one with the multiverse in the sideboard here.
Oh, this is fun. I love this.
Omniscience at home. We've got our Tidebinders coming in. Love this card against Domain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, anything else? It's like we are bringing Sunder the Gateway in, which is a card that I barely even knew existed.
Yeah, I there were a few cards this this week that I had to look them up and be like, I didn't even know that was a card.
Yeah. All right, going down on the Sunfalls. Maybe a little angry at them still for taking up 4 hand slots.
I mean, they showed up. They reported for duty. They just had nothing to do.
And it looks like deliberating on the No More Lies there. I think it is a really tough call. And obviously, Domain Ramp does ramp out of No More Lies range at a certain point, but
Hmm.
is countering the early things, or even like we saw that Atraxa get countered, is that valuable enough to keep them in?
All right, Enigma Jewel on 1.
You
Builder.
love to see Enigma Jewel on 1.
I feel like Enigma Jewel was not a card that I saw, played much, but this is, you know, that with the talents because you can use 2 colorless mana but only to
Mm-hmm.
activate abilities. And correct me if I'm wrong, but those talents, those are abilities,
They
right?
sure are. Yeah, Enigma Jewel, very powerful card. The Sammy this week named her deck Sol Ring Go Burr.
Mhm.
Uh, and I mean, I think that's really on display here. The Enigma Jewel, the Collector's Vault. There's a Heaped Harvest coming out for Amanda. Great turn 3 play for her. Honestly, both players kind of hitting the cards they want to be hitting.
Mhm. If I'm Sammy, if I'm gonna activate the collector's vault, what am I, ditching here? Is it Fountain Port? Is it the demolition field?
I don't think it's ever Fountain Port. I don't think it's ever Restless Anchorage. I think Demolition Field loses a lot of value when you board out your No More Lies,
Mhm.
but the additional planes we probably just don't need. So
Yeah, no, makes
I
sense.
like getting rid of it.
We drew the replacement planes anyways.
Go. We're gonna play our Anchorage and our Builder's Talent for turn. And back over to Amanda, playing a Mountain. That is all 5 land types. This is 1 mana binding online.
Mhm. There
Time
goes
to
the
get rid of that
demolition.
Demolition Field.
Amanda might have ramped, but Sammy, tre- treasures are the next best thing.
True. We're up to what, 6 mana now?
Mhm. Gonna level up the builder's talent.
Yes, here we go.
I don't think there's any non-land permanents right now in the graveyard that Sammy really wants to get back. So just sitting on the 3rd level of the builder's talent for now until you know, something good in the graveyard comes along.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that we are at level 2 of the talent, attacking with this Anchorage is going to let us get some +1/+1 counters. We're going to see a Get Lost come down for Amanda on the Anchorage before attacks. We're going to go ahead and quickly activate our Vault here. We have Negate in hand. Looks like we're ditching Fountain Port, really valuing the spells in our hand. We've got the Treasure Engine online here with the Vault and the
Mhm.
Jewel. And
All
here's the
right.
Negate on the Get Lost. Will it resolve? No,
Oh,
it will
negate on
not.
the negate.
This was a huge turn for Amanda.
Absolutely. I mean, the bird did win the game for Sammy last game. So putting
Yeah,
Sammy down a land, she is still making mana with the Enigma Jewel and all the treasures, but honestly, losing the bird is rough.
yeah, losing the bird's very rough, and I mean, really punished Sammy for ditching the lands here. But,
Honest
the Caretaker's talent down now means we're gonna be drawing even more when we activate
Oh,
this vault.
well, you can't ever get rid of the bird.
Yeah, and looks like we're gonna get rid of the Builder's talent this time. Trigger both of our enchantments here.
That is a very, very big wall.
That is a very big wall.
7 feet, if I had to guess. Here, a temporary lockdown, I feel like would be kind of devastating.
Devastating. Oh, absolutely. Herd Migration's pretty good too, but we did draw that Sunfall last turn, and we do
Mm-hmm.
have the mana to play it.
Gonna Collector's Vault first. Oh.
This is tough. You love all these cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the Get Lost is weirdly the worst card. Alright, gonna
Yeah,
get that Fabled Passage. Don't actually have to use any of the treasures to cast the Sunfall.
that's great. That's great news for Sammy.
And this is a huge artifact creature, a 6/6.
Yeah, and we have Tidebinder up in case an Atraxa comes down.
Oh.
And we have a negate for the Herd Migration. We are so well positioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sammy, it's just been straight gas with every draw and the Collector's Vault just giving all of the mana and honestly just filtering. The filtering has really been vital in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, drawing the seconds under the gateway, kind of punishing for getting rid of the Get Lost. I think one of the best things that Amanda could get here would be a Planeswalker, especially if that Planeswalker's name is Nissa.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we still have Tidebinder mana.
Yeah, this honestly, I don't know what Amanda could really play at this point that plays around the Tidebinder.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, Archangel of Wrath is probably closest to being most valuable.
Oh, another Heaped Harvest. Amanda continuing to get lands out of her deck, but that's
And gaining some life. And, the longer the game goes, probably the better it is for Amanda.
that is true. That is true.
Especially if we can resolve a spell like a Up the Beanstalk. We can start kind of competing on the card advantage that Sammy's been generating.
Mm-hmm. I was interested to see that the 6/6 was not turned into an artifact creature there.
Yeah. Looks like we're thinking about it now. I think Sammy heard you.
Sammy, the 6/6.
And here we go. A ton of aggression from Sammy. I'm really loving it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, right now, I think you could be playing potentially into a Get Lost, maybe. I don't know how many Amanda currently has because I'm not sure if she had any in the sideboard.
One in the sideboard, so
Mm-hmm.
potentially 3 total. And I imagine she's bringing it in for this.
Yeah, and we already saw one of them attempted to be cast, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's a smart move on Sammy just to send both creatures, try to force as much damage, because if somehow Amanda does manage to make it through a Tidebinder and gets an Atraxa or a lot of lifelink.
Sunfall,
Okay.
one of the only ways to not be dead right here.
Mm-hmm. The bird is still very scary though. That bird is growing, growing, growing.
Ooh, an Archangel of Wrath as well. It seems like you kind of need to Tidebinder one of these triggers just so Amanda doesn't have a lifelink flyer anymore. but chooses not to, chooses to hold it, play it more patiently, is maybe more worried about the bigger threats in Amanda's deck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh, you
Portal
know,
to Phyrexia
such
off the
as
top.
yeah, Portal for Phyrexia. That's oh goodness. Do you think Sammy just slams it?
I think I would.
Okay, the more going at the more reserved route and just potentially playing a bird.
Sure. I mean, might just want to hold Portal until something like an Atraxa ends up in the bin.
Yeah, that's valid.
Although we don't even really know if Atraxa is still part of Amanda's game plan.
That's true.
I know when I played Domain Ramp, there were a lot of matchups where Atraxa just came all the way out. A 7/8 bird is so big.
Mm-hmm. If I'm Sammy, am I just chilling, just waiting to see what Amanda does? I think
Absolutely.
it's such a big lead right now in Sammy's favor that yeah, I don't think I would be committing more to the board. I don't think I'd be running any risks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we are keeping Tidebinder specifically for temporary lockdown.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah, I think that's like the one card right now that could really potentially hurt Sammy, but that bird is still so big that Amanda would just be chumping.
Yeah.
It
I
would
guess
be
we also have Sunder the Gateways for lockdown, and
mm-hmm.
I mean, really, we have a handful of answers.
That's a very, very full hand too.
Yeah. All right, so Amanda chose not to attack with the Archangel. And keep it
Yeah,
up to block this bird.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think if Amanda attacks there, that bird could potentially just grow way, way out of range.
If we draw an untapped land here, oh, okay. Well, I mean, we drew a Get Lost, so.
Yeah, I think if you get lost the Archangel, it's just game over, depending on what Amanda has in hand.
Yeah, Amanda could have a negate.
We will see. Does not appear to be a negate.
Yeah, I don't know what else could
It could be
possibly.
a get lost would keep her in this.
Sure. Looks like that's not going to be it. That is going to be game over for Amanda. And huge congratulations to Sammy taking it down with this super cool Azorius token stack.
Mm-hmm. That, yeah, I had a feeling that that Azorius deck was going to be a little controlling. I saw the Sunfalls, I saw those key control pieces in there, but you know, Azorius control may not be my favorite way to play, but it does get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it certainly did for Sammy there. So again, congratulations, very well played by both players. I mean, really, really good magic on display there. And Misha, we have one more match. Is that right?
Yeah, we are 3/4 of the way through.
All right. Well, let's take a look at what that last match is going to look like. First up, we are going to have Ash on the side of Dimir Midrange. What do you think about this deck?
We as we kind of talked about earlier, Dimir mid-range, it's another one of those decks from last season. It was strong then, it's strong now. You play bad on 2, your 3-drop of choice. Mine's personally Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. It has a lot of the removal pieces. This deck runs a few Earth Ties. You have to go for the throats. I think there's a couple cut downs in here as well, and the blue counter spells. You got your Fairy Masterminds to help you draw some cards, Spyglass Sirens to help you know, get that evasion in the air and make your maps to help you get your bigger flyers. It's just a really good deck all around. um I might have a sneak peek of what the next deck to come is, and we might be looking at a similar deck there.
Oh, very excited to see that. Let's get into it. This is going to be Nyxxborn on Dimir midrange as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a mirror match, but it is not the same 75-75 mirror match. There are a little bit of difference between the two decks. I don't think the last deck was running Shouldreds. This deck, I think, yeah, there's a few there's like three Tidebinders here. I don't think the last deck had as many or if any. So very, very similar lists, but yeah, some minor differences.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dimir, great deck. Bat on 2, Gix on 3. Ready to see these players pilot this. Let's go ahead and get down into the match and see how this goes. We're going to have Ash on the bottom here and Nyxxborn on the top. And it looks like Nyxxborn's going to be going first. We got a hand here with Spyglass Siren, 3 steps, a couple go for the throats. For Ash, we've got a hand with Spyglass Siren, Counterspell. Very very similar looks.
Mm-hmm. Plumcreed Escort is one of the new cards for this deck. I believe it's a 2/1 flyer, but it gives another creature hexproof till end of turn, and I think it has flash.
Yeah, very sick card. Very cool addition from Bloomborough. This deck loves 2 mana blue flash creatures.
It sure does. We're seeing two of them here now with the Fairy Mastermind and the Plumcreed Escort. So Nyxxborn has some options. Can, you know, go for the throat or just send the Siren and see if Ash wants to trade.
I'm pretty happy to just throw the sirens against each other here. I mean, especially like that you have Fairy Mastermind. Ash knows that she also was Fairy Mastermind.
Hmm.
But also we do have this Phantom Interference if that's the route we want to go. But I think making sure that we can get a creature down before our Gix turn is very nice.
Yeah, I agree. So Nyxborn Restlessly Reef will come in tapped, but if Ash were to flash out either the Plumcreed Escort or Fairy Mastermind, Nyxborn does have the go for the throat, and there's not really any, it's not a, it's a, it's not really a good trade. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
and we'll see how they each want to play this here. And there is, of course, temptation to just slam Gix, but I like this a lot better. Let's respect the 2 mana that Nyxxborn has. Just get in for a little damage with our own fairy.
yeah, this is so tricky because, Nyxborn has to be thinking, if I go for the throat, this Fairy Mastermind right now, what are the chances that Ash has something in response? Which I'm sure we will see here very soon.
Yeah, we have a couple different options here, and I love playing this one out.
It gives more of a board presence and it protects the Mastermind, making that go for the throat basically just a dead card.
Yep. Yeah, very, very well played there to just get a little bit of extra value out of our cards.
Mm-hmm. Nyxborn does have the option to go for the throat, the Plumcreed Escort now, but it just doesn't seem like a good use of. Yeah, I probably
Yeah.
not looking for a land there, but at least that's one card closer to some action.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this could be our Gix turn, but we could also wait 1 turn, and then we have Gix and Phantom Interference as backup, which I think has got to be pretty tempting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nyxxborn has 3 steps ahead in hand, so we could try to fight over this go for the throat on the stack.
Mm-hmm. Phantom Interference, however.
Yeah, it could put a stop to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see both players looking at their blue counter spells, just ready and waiting to put them on the stack.
It's a tough call. It is a very tough call. You really don't want to lose this stack fight if you try to commit to it.
Mm-hmm.
You also have the Tidebinder as an option. Looks like we are going to go for the counter here.
At a certain point, when you're playing, blue versus blue, do you just have to try to bait the other person into using all their counter magic so that when you play something better later, maybe they just won't have it then?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are we going to let this resolve? No, we're going to go ahead and Phantom Interference, counter the 3 steps ahead. We're going to win the fight on the stack to get rid of this Fairy Mastermind. It's going to be 4 more damage, taking Nyxxborn down to 12.
Honestly, I think that's the right option. It's just a little tricky because now, Ash is all tapped out, but uh, it's it's not an easy place to be. Playing blue hurts my brain.
Not an easy place to be at all. Now we do have, we have Tidebinder, we have Urtai, we have a Go for the Throat. We have a lot of answers in our hand here. It looks like Ash just taking the opportunity to shove this Gix.
Mm-hmm. Nyxxborn, looking at that Urtai. Do you counter it or do you just you just counter it, right?
I think I personally would have gone for the Go for the Throat, fearing something like a Phantom Interference punishing me. Because if it was like a Plumcreed Escort to hexproof the Gix, we also have the Tidebinder to counter the Plumcreed trigger. Whereas we have really no play against if it is a second copy of Phantom Interference.
That's true. Here, you just take a peek, right?
Oh, absolutely. I want to play my bat. I want to see what they got going on. I'm going to be thrilled to take their Go for the Throat and know that there's nothing else in the hand.
All right. Well, yeah, there's only the one option there.
Yeah. Take the Go for the Throat. The only thing we can take. Oh, this Tidebinder is going to line up so nicely against this bat. Or we can just go for the Throat it.
Yeah, might as well put another creature on the board.
Yeah, they put a creature on the board and turn the bat into nothing more than a 1/1. No flying, no lifelink.
Honestly, that's pretty nice when you have 2/3/2s.
It's very nice. Now, we're staring down 6 damage. We know that we have a Go for the Throat for the next turn. If we give them their Go for the Throat back, they can Go for the Throat our Tidebinder, get their bat back online. Pretty tough here. I kind of think you're more or less forced into taking the block, though.
Yeah, going down to 2 is just not great. I think I blocked the Fairy Mastermind.
Yeah, I think that takes the most value off the board.
Mm-hmm. And Ash waiting to see.
Yeah, and rewarded for waiting because this Gix is quite the card. Although,
Honestly, do you play the Gix? Because if I'm Nyxxborn, I only have 2 black mana. I cannot play my Gix and hold up the Go for the Throat.
I think you have to hold up the Go for the Throat because otherwise you are just dead with the cards that you know about.
Absolutely.
Because we can get that bat back online and then it's exact lethal in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am swinging with. I guess you can't swing with any creatures either.
Yeah, I mean, you could swing with Urtai, but I mean, at 18 life, like,
Oh,
oh,
well, it's not.
it's not
I mean,
lethal yet.
it's not lethal yet, thanks to the go for the throw, but it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm. Taking out the Siren. There was a consideration of activating the Wreath and, sending another attacker in there.
Yeah, definitely a consideration. Fairy Mastermind, huge draw here for Nyxxborn, giving us the confidence to attack in with the Urtai, which will just get blocked by the Reef. Pretty much for free.
Yeah.
Because we also still get to hold up our go for the throat and shoot the Sheriff. We can play our Gix
Yeah.
and hold up our Fairy Mastermind.
Yeah, I think that's the move here.
Ooh, the damage
Ooh.
does not feel nice.
Yeah. I think with the Restless Reef activation, there's still enough mana for the shoot the Sheriff. So even if
Yeah, I think we are just dead. Because the Fairy Mastermind's. Oh, and is it an outlaw? It's an outlaw. I mean, we still die, but
yeah.
we were one outlaw away from winning. Or
Yeah, I was
from
gonna say
not
like
dying, I should say.
it was very, very close.
Yeah. All right, going into game 2 here. Believe it or not, Dimir Midrange took down game 1.
Big
And
surprise.
I've got a lot of options here. I really love the card Harvester of Misery, just in general. Really excited to see that being played in decks now. It's like we're opting to take out our Tidebinders and our Urtais here.
This deck has so much, or both of these decks just play so much removal that the Tidebiter, stifling ETBs is really good, but sometimes it's just as soon as it gets removed and creatures get, like flying and lifelink back, they're not as good anymore. So I
Yeah.
can, and it's 3 mana. For
Yeah,
some reason in this
absolutely.
deck, that's, a nice sweet spot that, you got to respect and maybe make way for other cards that would be better.
Totally. And it looks like maybe a little bit of difference of opinion on how to board here. Maybe a little bit of play draw affecting the boarding decisions. So it doesn't look like we're bringing in our Lilianas, even though we just saw our other Dimir player bringing them in.
What do you think about the cut down? I think that in this matchup, cut down ends up taking out a majority of the creatures that you're going to see. So would you bring in more the last cut down?
I would bring in my sideboard cut downs. I think I would bring it as I would want to have as many cut downs as I possibly can, for the reasons that you stated. Of that's just it deals with so much of the deck.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is, little flyers. So most of the time they're not bigger than 2/1s or, you know, they might get up to a 2/2, that little siren that grows, but
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just having a 1 mana interaction spell is very important
mm-hmm.
in this matchup when like so much of what's happening is happening at instant speed. Got only 13 seconds left to make these choices.
Looks like considering cutting the Shouldered.
Yep, last second, final hour. We went to a
Oh.
spicy 61.
That last second panic.
Yeah, I have felt it. We've all felt it.
That looks like a pretty good start for Nyxxborn.
Yeah, it looks like pretty good starts for both players, I think. I mean,
Yeah, to be honest, that's not bad.
Nyxxborn has the advantage of being able to spyglass on one.
Oh,
Ash has the advantage of being able
cut down the spyglass on
cut
one.
down. Well, we can't cut down on one, right? The two reefs come in
Oh, that's
tapped, and then
true.
we have
That's
an
true.
island. That's like the only awkward part of this hand for Ash. But we do have Bat on two,
That's
which
true.
well,
Well,
that lets us cut
now
down
we
on
can
one
cut down on one.
if we want to.
Good old Mirix giving us a color the turn is played.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Now this does take away our ability to bat on two, but we still have the ability to mastermind or Malcolm on two, which are also very good options.
Mm-hmm.
We get to Siren and crack a map on it, which, great way to use a little bit of extra mana.
All right. Not going to get the counter, but I think that's okay. Just being able to get that third land for sure. I think that peace of mind is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's like Ash trying to decide if he wants to shove the Spyglass Siren here or hold up one of the instant speed creatures. I really like playing the Spyglass Siren while the shields are down.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the third Restless Reef.
Yeah.
Surrounded
Unfortunate.
surrounded by sharks. All right,
No
Nyxxborn.
one can hit a non-land with their maps.
It's just the 1/1s, the battle of the 1/1 flyers. Unfortunately, it's only tap lands for Ash right now, but offering the 1/1 trade. If you're Nyxxborn, do you take this?
I think I do. Oh, or just go for the throat. Yeah, go crazy. I mean, there's nothing like a Gix coming down this turn. You're probably not too scared of what else comes down.
Or do I play out Urtai and take out the Fairy Mastermind when, Ash doesn't block?
Maybe. I mean, I think holding it's good. I think you have to respect things like Shieldred. You have to respect things like Gix.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
This bat. Ooh.
yeah, the bat is awkward. These tap lands are hurting Ash significantly. Because we really wanted to be able to meaningfully double spell this turn. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can't double spell at all this turn. I mean, unless you're talking about like Malcolm plus cut down. That's our only spell line.
Yeah, it's an option.
It's an option. We get to get in for one with our Spyglass Siren.
Ash debating whether to take out the spyglass and saying, yeah, why not?
Yeah, Ash clearly putting a lot of emphasis on controlling the state here. And Nick deciding whether or not to stop it. It looks like we are going to cast the Urtai.
All right. Ash will draw a card.
Yeah, Ash will draw a card, which could be huge. Interesting. So we got the Plum Creed Escort here. We're going to be able to flash in our Malcolm. Oh, and then Gix.
Okay.
What a draw.
This is still kind of tricky though, because if you still can't double spell.
You
So
can't double spell, but I think you have to take your chance to draw two cards.
so this is what I think is interesting because you can take the Urtai and then flash in the Plume Creed and get rid of the Go for the Throat. Is it gonna look like suspicious? Or
I
I
don't
guess
think it.
I
Well, I
guess you
guess
could do the same for the Urtai though.
if they do it on the destroy mode, but they can also just counter the spell with Urtai.
That's true.
So I think that's the tricky part here. Oh, and there is the Harvester of Misery, which can really clean up here if that is what Nyxxborn wants to do. Now it'll clean up everybody's board, but it'll clean up.
If I'm Nyxxborn, do I just try to like slam both of my creatures for damage and then play the? Yep, I think that is. I think we have our answer.
Yeah, and I mean, might be a thing that we want to hold off on the Harvester for a turn just to avoid things like Phantom Interference. Yeah, I mean, this is going to wipe the board. We do have to go for the Throat to cleanly answer it. So the whole board's just gone. But this is going to give Nyxxborn her go for the Throat back. Of course, we do have the Plum Creed Escort, like you're talking about. I think you got to get under while the shields are down, right? Like you got to get this Gix on the board.
I think you. Okay.
Yeah, choosing to. I mean, we know the Urtai exists, and we know the Go for the Throat exists. So I mean, we did have Go for the Throat, the Gix, and then Urtai, the Escort available.
Just removal
so choosing
after
to respect
removal.
that. Yeah. And I mean, cut down. Honestly, a great card to draw here.
It can't hit Gix, so Nyxxborn can theoretically go for the Throat on the Gix and then Urtai the Plume Creed, I believe. So this is just so much back and forth.
Yeah, I think attacking with the Restless Reef is really good here. We need to flush this removal out of Nyxxborn's hand. And it looks like this is going to accomplish all of that. I think it's very likely that we see Nyxxborn go ahead and counter this Plume Creed Escort.
Yep. Counter the Plume Creed, give Ash a card, destroy the Restless Reef. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, these stack battles are very intense.
Yeah, so much going on.
Whole 3 steps ahead, what a draw.
That, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't do everything just yet, but still able to do a lot.
Yeah, but I think you can make a token copy of Gix and draw the cards, which is basically doing everything.
Yeah. It would legendary rule, so
sure. I mean, you don't get an extra creature, but like you still do get to counter a spell. I guess you just want to do the counter mode though, so you don't give them the draw.
Yeah, I think you would just, and it's cheaper that way.
Sure, you get to hold up the cut down for the Spyglass Siren. What a great card, 3 steps ahead.
I'm not much of a blue player, but even I can appreciate that card in OTJ.
I love a card with choices.
Oh, and those are great draws for Nyxxborn.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you get rid of the cut down here. Oh man, you're so happy to have Gix's command.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's Nyxxborn's hand's looking pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good indeed. Choosing to play the Gix's command anyways, even knowing the Shieldred is coming. Which, get in for 5, heal up to 16. You got a lot of ways to deal with Shieldred. Plus, you've got a 5 damage Urtai that could potentially just... Right? Oh, you can make a copy of it with the 3 steps. and just nuke the Shieldred.
I'm trying to think. If you make a token copy, it would get its ETB effect, and then you can just sacrifice the token.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that way
it
you're
would
still
kill Shieldred.
Yeah, and you're still getting your benefit of having a 5/4 rather than just a 3/2 token.
Yeah. I think I would be maybe more interested in just attacking with Urtai and offering up the trade. Oh, this is really good for Nyxxborn, I think.
Yeah, that is very spicy. Going down to 1.
Very spicy indeed. I think you can just hold that 3 steps. I don't think you really care if Ashe gains 2 more life.
Yeah, you're at 14. I think you just hold it. You could flash in both your fairy masterminds or just counter whatever Ashe wants to do. And I think that's
Also, I think we're gonna take a bunch of damage off of this Shieldred for those drops, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so we're gonna take 4. We're gonna kill the Shieldred.
Ooh.
Draw 2 Gixes. Yeah, I like this a lot because we keep up the option to activate Mirex. And I mean, Ashe has no way to deal lethal damage right now.
Mm-mm. This still looks very much in Nyxxborn's court.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But Ashe will survive another turn.
Yeah. We just chump with our Gix. We say thank you for letting us live for one more turn.
What a nice guy.
That will not do it. That is going to be game.
All right. Oh, but that was only game 2. We are
Yeah,
on
we're going
to
into game 3.
Game 3. It gets
Yeah,
a little confusing when it's Dimir versus Dimir because you're like, oh, Dimir won twice.
yeah. Yeah, it's over. Dimir won twice.
All
right,
right.
so going into this, Ashe will be on the play, which I think is extremely important in any mirror matchup, but I think especially one where the interaction matters so much.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like choosing to go up on some of the counter magic here. Yeah, I think the Shieldred question is a kind of tricky one because obviously Shieldred can just run away with games.
Mm-hmm.
She is on her own a win condition. But also sometimes she's just a 4 mana do nothing, right?
Yeah, especially when there's so many, go for the throats and like sometimes she gets Urtied, sometimes she gets tucked under a bat. So it's the likelihood that she stays on that board very long is not very high.
Yeah, pretty low for sure. So I think I really respect taking a couple of the Shieldreds out.
Looking at the cutdowns, honestly the cutdowns still seemed extremely strong and relevant in these games.
Yeah, I think keeping on top of the board is really important. I think there's a lot of creatures who are relevant in cut down range. Even just like Tidebinder and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you love Harvester of Misery. That really overperformed, I think.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that. As soon as it came down, it did meet with a go for the throat, but it took out 3 creatures with it.
Wow, what What a hand. Oh man, I mean both players.
Yeah, I was like, which one are you talking about? They're both great.
I mean, Ash has the thing that we keep talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bat on 2, Gix on 3. That is a strong play pattern. Especially when you're on the draw, you get to bat their bat or bat their go for the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Starting off with Dark Shores for both players. Then it's going to be presumably, yeah, Mirrex into Deep Cavern Bat for Ash here.
Mm-hmm. And you take the go for the throat, right? Or do you take their bat?
I think you take their bat. So that way, if you take their go for the throat, they're still just gonna bat you
Yeah.
on your turn, and then like you are down a turn on playing the Gix. And if you get them to spend a go for the throat on your bat and then delay their bat by a turn, you're pretty happy.
That makes sense.
Now we can't really afford to play Gix into this, so I really like playing out the Spyglass Siren.
Yeah, and I think that's good. Like I agree. You're just trying to bait their removal that you're already aware of.
Yeah.
Do you attack the bat into a potential fairy mastermind trade?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, we still have the cut down as backup.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, really, we're desperately trying to get Nyxxborn to cast a spell. Right?
True.
Because we're in such a good spot now because she can bat us back, but we have cut down in response. So, you know, the Gix doesn't actually get taken.
Mm-hmm. So you can take a look what's coming at
Yeah,
you next.
you get a little peek. You get a little peek. You get to know that Gix is happening. And I mean, Spyglass Siren actually huge here for Nyxxborn to stop the Spyglass Siren and stop the Gix trigger for a turn.
All right, gonna go get a land.
Yeah, we're getting an island here.
All right, Gix is here. This is just gonna force Nyxxborn to trade so that Ash doesn't draw that card.
Yeah, it takes away the automatic, free
Oh, okay.
map token target.
So do you just attack with the Gix and attempt to counterspell the Tidebinder?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love this. Love this. Go. We get to draw a card. It's a cut down. That's amazing.
Ooh, Nyxxborn getting really stuck on mana here.
Yeah, and Ash just gets to keep shoving with this Gix.
At what
And
point do you feel safe enough to play out Sheoldred?
I mean, you can play it out right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Whatever. I mean, she counters it, and then we just get to do it again, right? And this is so strong for us.
True, that one extra card per turn really, really coming in clutch.
Yeah, I mean, Ash is so in the driver's seat. I think I would be a little tempted to play the Spyglass Siren for fear of cards like Cut Down.
Hmm. This is really good getting that second Gix.
Yeah. I mean, we have Reef as well if we want to activate that. Looks like considering flashing in the Tidebinder. Just going to let it happen. Might be wanting to flash in the Fairy Mastermind, hoping to draw a card.
I would assume Ash is just going to immediately cut the Mastermind down.
Absolutely. Yep.
Only cards for one of us. This is
And I mean, such a dominating position for Ash, really trying to think of what Nyxxborn could rip here that really like swings things. I mean, Gix's command, ironically, could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gix's command's got to be like our best option. I mean, finally, the Tidebinder is probably going to prove to be pretty useful.
Mm-hmm. All right, swinging with everything. Tidebinder flashing in.
Yep. We do have enough mana to activate Gix as well. Which I wonder if that's something we will see or not.
No, just gonna allow the trades.
Mm-hmm.
Second Gix in waiting.
Yep. And play it.
Would you have played one of the lands out?
I would have played the Dark Slick Shores for sure.
Gonna make a
But
might.
I like this. We got the might going.
Nyxxborn does, I believe, have enough to activate. Is it 4 for the reef?
Yeah, I think it's 4 for the Wreath.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is.
So we do have that, but then just the Urtai
The
to answer
Urtai.
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that. That at least is gonna keep Nyxxborn in the game, but that Urtai being able to just take out the reef is.
Yeah, kind of curious that we did not play our Underground River, which I think would have given us enough mana to activate our own Reef and cast Urtai.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go, going to flash in Urtai. I don't know, just gonna let the might die. Draw a card. Oh, Shieldred's Edict. Very nice.
Who needs Urtai when you draw cards and have edicts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Too little, too late.
yeah, I was gonna say it's something, but probably not enough.
I mean, Underground River gives you your Reef, so that's good.
Yeah.
Of course, with Urtai and our own Reef online,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not enough. But
Ash,
choosing not to activate the Reef.
Yeah, Ash. I can respect the restraint. I would not be able to.
No, nor would I, nor would I.
Okay, the Plume Creek Escort coming in. Looking to potentially counter it with Urtai. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to give another card. Oh, here we go. Activate Urtai. Or sorry, activate Gix for X is 3. Get rid of our whole hand.
Getting rid of the Gix's command is pretty big here.
Yeah, very big. And we can play it.
I think the 2 counters.
Yeah, the 2 counters are very good. It's a shame that we did not let the escort resolve, because otherwise we could have like had a pretty sweet line of like building up our fairy mastermind, getting rid of their escort, and really putting the hurt on them. But I mean, we have Shieldred, we have backup Gix, we just gained 4 life, took away a Gix's command, and I mean, that's it. That is doors closed for Nyxxborn for sure.
Yeah. Nyxxborn got stuck on mana pretty early on, and it allowed Ash to just keep playing and double spelling, and unfortunately Nyxxborn just couldn't come back from that. But great job, both of you. That was a wonderful game. The stack battles were intense, and great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job from both of our players there on. I mean, mirror matches are always tricky, but congratulations to our winner. That was great. That was amazing. Misha, that is all of our matches for today, I believe.
Yeah, well, not unless there's some secret fifth match. There's not. Just
No.
just kidding.
So next, oh, scared me so bad.
No. No, that was a wonderful 4 matches, divisions 9, 10, 11, 12. All of you, thank you so much for playing this week. They were so entertaining, and I know that I was at the edge of my seat on all of those games. I don't know about you, Manile.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are some very intense matches of Magic. And if you want to see more intense matches of Magic, we'll be back here live again at the same time next week. Only this time, Duskmorn will be legal, correct, Misha?
Yes,
Will be legal in the VML. So we'll see a whole new texture of standard. I am very excited to see how these cards impact the format, how the impressive players of the VML are able to wield them in this tournament. But I
we
think
have some pretty impressive brewers. I know that I am always taken by surprise when a new set comes out because I'll be looking at decks and be like, how is this supposed to win? And then I'm like, there it is. So I
absolutely,
I'm really
absolutely
looking forward to
a
next week.
ton of talent in the VML. But yeah, check us out next week with more Duskmorn, different casters in the booth, but always a great team to guide you through it. Any parting thoughts before we head out, Misha?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Nile, for being here. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Wizard of the Coast. And most of all, thank you to Phoebe. You don't see her, but she's the one in the back making sure this goes on every single week. So shout out, Phoebe. You make this production go round.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out Phoebe. Shout out again to Wizards of the Coast, our sponsor for the VML. And I think that is going to do it for us today. Thank you very much for watching. I have been NileJoanRivers, joined today by Magic Misha Migo. Have a great day. Goodbye.